So hi, my name is Dave Coplin. I am the Chief Envisioning Officer of a company I run called the Envisioners. And the reason I'm here today is really the purpose of my organisation, which is to help people understand the future potential of technology and understand that really the best bit about the future of technology is not the technology, but actually it's what we humans choose to do with it. And my job today is to try and inspire people as to what they might do with technology and the kind of changes they're going to need to go through in order to make that happen. So the basic principle of what I'm really here to talk about is, if you look at the way that most of us work and the organisations we exist within and the processes we have, many of those processes and the concepts that we have were invented 200 years ago. And we have this amazing technology, 21st century technology, things like artificial intelligence and machine learning and big data. And all we're doing with that amazing technology is we're making those old Victorian ways of working a bit quicker and a bit cheaper, which isn't the gift of technology. So the challenge is how do you then get people to pivot and think not so much about the process of what they do in their organisations, but instead to think of the outcome. So what is it that our customers actually want? What is it that we would need as employees to be able to deliver that? And you kind of start from the outcome and work backwards. But it all really gravitates around this sort of set of technologies that I think are so crucial, will touch everybody on the planet and disrupts lots of us over the next couple of decades, and that's artificial intelligence and big data. There's a cliche that is doing the rounds about data is the new oil, and we can argue whether that's the right terminology or not, but for me it's simply this. Historically, most organisations, they think about data as a byproduct of their business. So they create their products and services, and as a result of doing that, through the exhaust of doing that, they generate data. And every now and again, they'll scoop up that data and they use the data to reflect on what has happened previously. Well, actually, going where we're going, and in a world of AI, data no longer is a byproduct of what you do. It is the product. It is essentially the fuel of your organisation, and your ability to think about data in a strategic way, not to reflect on where you've been, but actually to use it to anticipate where you should go next. That's the key. And it's that concept of really using data at the heart of the business, using it as a strategic asset rather than some tactical piece of information that you generate. If you can do that, those are the hallmarks, I think, of a successful company for the 21st century. When it comes to companies thinking about the role of data, I think it starts from a really simple perspective. And the simple perspective is just this, what's the question that you're trying to answer? Have a really clear picture of the question as an organisation that you're trying to solve for your customers. And once you know what that question is, then you start to think, well, what data do I need in order to be able to answer that question? And so once you know what the data is, then you say, well, have I got that data? Or do I have access to it? Could I generate that data? So it's just simple 3 steps. What's the question? What's the data? How do I get that data? And if you can do that, that's the approach. That's your sort of 3 steps into the future. What I love about AI in particular is pop culture and the media always play to the dystopian world, right? The robots will take our jobs and AI will take over the planet. And whilst that's fun, and also there's a human trait that we have that we always take pleasure in the negative side of things. What we have to remember is that humans are pretty good actually, and they'll see tools like AI, and if we can get people to acquire the right kind of skills, and that's a big if because we've got lots to do there, then it won't be about robots taking over, it'll be about things like curing cancer or solving poverty or hunger. Those are the things, and I know they sound like really sort of glib, grand goals, but those are the things that AI will help us do. They will literally change the planet. And once we start to see more examples of that, and once we become more comfortable, and we go through this phase that we're in now where we're learning not about the technology, but about the morals and ethics that surround the technology, and we're developing that sort of sense of what's good and bad, then actually we'll be into a place when we can deliver it. So, the short answer is humans ultimately are good people. They want to do good things. Our job is how do we empower those good people with the right kind of technology so that they can use it to solve it. And typically, how do we make sure our kids, subsequent generations who come after us, these are the people that really we have to help the most, because we need them to be able to build a world that's fit for purpose, that is no longer that Victorian world that we exist in today. I come back to the fact that for thousands of years, tens of thousands of years, we have evolved and existed with various technologies, and we've learned what they're good for and we've learned what they're bad for, and we've emerged in more or less a better position. We still have big problems to solve. We have issues with the climate and the economy, and there are parts of the world that are better off than the other. But fundamentally, even if you just go back a few decades, we are living better, more healthy, living longer, all those things. So I have an optimism that the human race will continue to do that. The big game changer in your time frame, in 30 years, is actually quantum computing. And I think of quantum computing as nothing more than a massive accelerator for the power of AI. And that's kind of why it's crucial today that we get the moral and ethics right, because when quantum comes along, oh my God, yeah, you know, the world is going to fundamentally change. And then just to bring back, and maybe this is at the heart of your question, if we think about what kind of people do we want and we need to be successful, we all need to learn some really basic skills. We're all going to need to be quite resilient because the world's going to change really rapidly. We're going to, you know, we have to commit to lifelong learning. There's no ability anymore just to learn and then I've learned everything I need to know and that will be my career. It's not going to exist. Even for the older generations like us, we're going to have to retrain consistently in order to do that. But if we can be resilient, if we can be open-minded, if we can be optimistic, again, the technology lifts our capability as humans, and that's really what this is all about.